confused.
We are, basically very similar.
You guys sound exactly the same. I can't tell you guys apart. It's really hard.
Pretty much, yeah, just carbon copies,
You get a little bit more hair, but the analysis is just top-notch, so I do get confused. Guys, we are in game in the bottom right here from Clash, the German Zerg. It is Lambo.
All right, and up here in the top left-hand side in the red, the Terran player. He is InZaNe. And in case the logo down at the bottom didn't give it up for you, he's playing for Wolfspack. An awesome logo. Love it.
It is quite lovely. Not too many Wolfspack players here at the moment, so InZaNe is representing.
Well, he's the one-man Wolfpack.
He's the one-man. So it's not really a pack. He's kind of just he's a lone wolf, more like it.
A lone wolf, indeed. Yeah. But, yeah, we've got Kairos Junction first up. Keen to see how this one plays out. Lambo going to be opening up with the pool first. Very safe opening. And, of course, can sneak a few Zerglings across the map. So there's two main reasons to go for that spawning pool first. One is to defend any proxy barracks builds very easily. The other one is to take advantage of a Terran player who doesn't want to leave enough defense at home and also doesn't want to SCV scout. So you can sneak a few Zerglings around, and just when the Reaper gets to your base, as far away from being able to defend as possible, you can sneak a few Zerglings in there. But I think InZaNe, having opened up with a barracks first opening, should be completely fine because he'll be queuing up a Marine right afterwards. And oh, wow, even playing so safe, he's actually going to send an SCV scout across the map as well. So this is a doubly safe opening. Perhaps a little bit of metagame going between these two on the ladder, because normally you'd expect InZaNe say, hey, Lambo's, real macro-oriented player. Let's be a bit greedy. In this case, not at all. He's going to see the Zerglings, see how late that command center is.
I actually think he only saw the 2 of them there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he saw the other 6.
Oh, this could be a cool mind game if you throw those 2 lings away then as Lambo, so that entices the Reaper to just kind of go across the map. But as it is, looks like those 4 lings just going to be able to hide, not going to be able to get any damage done. So definitely the SCV scout paying off here for InZaNe. Going to be able to keep that command center up. And both players going to progress to the next stage. Of course, Lambo going for a slower than normal Zergling speed. And will no doubt be going up to that 3rd base in the near future as well.
Certainly, indeed. Otherwise, been pretty standard for this opening for Lambo. A little bit more on the aggressive side, but otherwise it is all kosher. We're going for that 3rd base here for Lambo. Nothing but drones and queens so far for the German Zerg, as you'd want to have in the early stages here. And it is actually a pretty quick 3rd CC there from InZaNe, but he's putting it up in the main base. Not going to make a wall in at the ground just yet. That Reaper's been on guard duty for a lot of this game. He's actually just relied on the SCV for his scouting information, not using that Reaper at all.
Yeah, and I like this adjustment. The way Lambo's been playing, it definitely is needed just to stop those Zerglings poking their way in at any point. Your Hellions come out just so late off this sort of opening as InZaNe. They're not going to be out on the field till about 3 minutes 30. So you just want to keep that Reaper there to be safe, and both players really respecting each other, just scouting around the map are these Zerglings. And InZaNe, of course, has opted for that fast 3rd command center on the high ground. The 1-gas follow-up, super macro mode for the Terran player.
Yeah, prioritizing that mineral income as you'd expect for all the economy things that do cost minerals, the SCVs and the CCs. And these Hellions, which are going to be hitting the field certainly here for InZaNe to get a little bit of map control against Lambo. Try and keep these Queens on guard duty, nearly getting that Reaper, but not quite.
Yeah, nice Queen stutter step to get as many shots off as possible there. The Hellions and the Reaper is going to look to try and slow things down and stop that creep from blossoming too far out. The real power of InZaNe's build is, as long as nothing slows you down, you will be able to get those first 2 medevacs with Stim, handful of Marines out on the map at a really nice, crisp time. In fact, he's actually still building Hellions. So this is an interesting thing we do see more and more recently, is players not just stop at the 4 or 6 Hellions with the 3 command center build, but actually continue to build, sometimes up to 8 Hellions, sometimes even more than that. And Baneling Nest is going to be coming on the way here for Lambo as well. But once again, I mean, it's like the lightest poking. Neither player wants to overextend and get knocked down by the counterplay. No one wants to dive in. So it's been a little bit of poking and prodding and not a lot else.
I like what Lambo's doing here, making sure that his army is always active. Yes, they're not on the map trying to deny 3rd bases or poke the natural, but they are just doing something. And that is breaking down these rocks. So if the Terran does push there, which the Terran does love to do, it's a lot easier for the Zerg to get those surrounds. Hellions showing themselves on the edge of that creep there. Queens and Lings reposition themselves just in case But I like what the Bailey Nest is as well, actually. It kind of makes it a little bit easier to try and get a little bit of SimCity around those Hellions if they try to deep dive. This Overlord seeing that it is going to be Bio confirming the double engineering bays at the front. He hasn't seen the barracks production, obviously, but just seeing the NG bays is enough to know it's Bio.
That creep spread starting to get further and further out on this map, Maynard.
Yeah.
So the Hellions look like they finally... No, yeah, that would have been a bad idea to go in there. The Queen's actually coming all the way out off creep, landing a few hits on those Hellions.
Ooh,
nice
grenade.
Reaper grenade.
Yeah.
Kind of isolates one of those Queens. InZaNe, of course.
Assisters have no transfusions.
Yeah, going for the high energy one. Nice. Does take it down. The Ling's being forced out onto the map there. So yeah, that's why you never walk off creep with those Queens. Probably just a misrally from Lambo, not realizing they would have pathed that way. Still no Evo Chambers on the way here for Lambo. It's almost 6 minutes. He's got Bane speed, but 1-1 is already almost halfway done. I think Lambo thinks he's playing against BattleMech.
I think so, yeah.
Because in that case, you just want to get up a lot of Banelings, a lot of supply, but if your opponent has 1-1 before your 1-1 even starts against Bio, like, that's a really, really bad position to be in.
He does have these double Evos, but hasn't used them just yet.
Oh.
He's just not paying attention to them, perhaps.
Might have just forgotten it.
Yeah.
It is something
There's
you push it down the priority list against mech because your upgrades aren't as important. It's more important to get a big enough economy and enough material to just deal with the harassment, but we're now seeing things start to move across the map. Hellions, Marines, Medevacs, there's tons of Banelings.
Ooh.
So InZaNe definitely can't really put on the hurt right now, but just clearing creep, that's all you need.
And these Marines being a little bit annoying there, just poking, but doesn't look like they got, they haven't got combat shield just yet. It is still in production. 1-1, almost done, but not quite. This Widowmine actually just caught there by Lambo, breaks off a few Lings to force it to discharge there. Oh, this Widowmine's going to get a few Lings, but there is so many more left over. InZaNe might have to lift up some units and save them here. Lambo going for the big surrounds with those Lings, actually getting forced back way off creep. InZaNe takes an all-right engagement.
Yeah, doesn't end up losing the Marines, keeps his presence here, and that's the important thing. That is going to make it difficult for Lambo to establish creep in the middle of the map. Now, creep's going very far on the north, quite far out through the left center of the map. But as long as there's an opening in the center, that'll give InZaNe the ability to branch off with some nice counterattacks. We see them now going across the creep spread, giving some advance warning of that. Lings countering on the left-hand side, looking for a little backstab. And the rally does get surrounded there. InZaNe caught out a little bit. The Widowmine's having to borrow a lot of units going down at the third base. Oh!
Yeah, nice Widowmine there, at least the second one was. InZaNe's on this hatchery here trying to take it down. Lambo does have some units ready. Hydra even coming in with some Ling Bane, and he does force that medevac out there. He's going to pick up into the main base, but of course Lambo's on top of this. Shouldn't be taking too much damage there.
That's really important that he saved those Marines, though. Even just that few extra seconds, this buys InZaNe a lot of attention. It pulls Lambo back, forces some of his attention away. InZaNe needs that because he's got to establish himself in this next stage. His 2-2 advantage continuing to work its way along, but Lambo's got a fast hive on the way. He's got his Hydra upgrades all starting to come in now. Hydra's, of course, very good against Widowmines.
All those Widowmines stacked on top of each other here. Ready for Lambo to overextend, but Lambo's a pretty good Zerg. Would be a surprise.
Yeah, if you get 3 Banelings detonated on top of that.
This actually might kill InZaNe. Oh, he loads up and actually decides to pull out there.
Yeah, that was a good pickup on those Widowmines out of the ground. Is just going to fly it back to safety for now. He has a fast 4th command center up, so InZaNe looking like he might want to be going to the epic late game stage. Baneling's going to roll into the depots, and they will supply block InZaNe, but that's a very expensive way to take down a few depots. Banelings are not cheap units.
Certainly aren't. InZaNe's actually impressing me here, keeping a lot of presence on this side of the map, just forcing Lambo's multitasking to also always be engaged here. The upgrade discrepancy can be quite huge when 2-2 finishes. Lambo's switching upgrades here.
And he's just creating threat on multiple sides. He's got 2 drops on the south in different locations. He's got the Widowmines and Marines on the north that have managed to deny any potential 5th base up there. And he's just being nice and annoying and hopefully gonna be stretching Lambo out and slowing him down. Now, on the plus side, Lambo has avoided taking any of those catastrophic Widowmine hits. And that's the big problem. If the Terran stretches you out, there's a good chance you're going to roll a lot of Ling Bane into those Widowmines and lose a ton of units all at once. Lambo's avoided that so far, but interestingly, he's expanding to the north side. So Lambo's going to try and stretch out down both sides of this map, and that opens up a lot of counterattack potential for InZaNe's drops. There's going to be a lot of stretch between the very far northern base and the southern base for Lambo.
InZaNe moving out on the edge of the creep here. Lambo looks to engage those Banelings, looking for that juicy Marine cluster. InZaNe still has quite a few Widow Mines and even starting to throw in tanks here as he knows that the Hydra count's starting to get a little bit higher, and you definitely want to have tanks against that. He's actually got 2 factory tank production at the moment, which is pretty sick.
It's very late to be starting that, though. So, you know, we're at the Viper stage of the game. They're not out yet. There is an Ultra Cavern done. Vipers could be coming out soon. InZaNe caught a little bit unawares. A good Widow Mine shot on the left-hand side, but some good Baneling hits on the right as well. Both players trading tit for tat there. And a lot of bio is out. 3 more barracks going down for InZaNe.
Right by the 4th base as well, like right in the Zerg's face. Speaking of which, that creep spread is looking pretty nice for Lambo. Oh, InZaNe standing a little bit there on creep. Pulls back with his Marines as best he can. Oh man, that Widow Mine actually killed so many Marines there.
Oh my lord, I was watching the Banelings and I said, oh wow, he's actually wriggled away from the Banelings. I looked over and saw about 30 Marine corpses on the ground. I was like, how?
Terran splash damage hates Terran units as much as it hates Zerg.
Oh man.
Speaking of splash damage, that parasitic bomb forcing those medevacs to pull back here. The Hydras of Lambo on that front line, really cutting through these Marine numbers.
This creep is just so far out, Maynard. InZaNe, he's desperately just trying to push the creep away from the edge of his base, and he can't even do that. He's got a lot of economy, he's got good upgrades, he's got nice supply, but Lambo's at Ultratech. He's got his own +3 carapace almost done. He's got a lot of units out here. Not many Banelings left, though. I think Lambo has to pull back for now. Yeah,
definitely wants a few more Banelings. He's morphing a few more to get thrown into that mix. Once InZaNe overextend on creep and really hit that bio hard with tons of splash damage. These tanks of InZaNe, they actually have +1 attack heading towards +2, and they're good enough in numbers. He has been going double factory siege tank production. So he actually could engage Ultras here until, I guess, you know, Chitinous and +3 armor's done, which isn't too far away from Lambo.
Oh, Baneling's flanking from all sides. A big surround coming in. Ultras, Hydras, parasitic bombs dropping on top of those medevacs. A lot of Zerglings and Ultras.
So many Zerg units. The Lings are surrounding the tanks. InZaNe can't buffer for them anymore. So many numbers here from Lambo. He's just overwhelming InZaNe's position. And because he put a large production here as well, Lambo's going to start cutting into that. And it doesn't look like he's slowing down. Those Hydras and Ultras looking for more damage here.
Oh, the tanks on the high ground going to be overrun. And that puts InZaNe in a very tough position. Those Hydras finding their way into the soft underbelly of the Terran. And I think backing up's not a bad idea here for Lambo. He's taking good trades. He has lost a lot of creep spread, though. So, you know, Lambo's up at 81 workers. He's got Ultras. He's got the Anabolic Synthesis, a.k.a. Ultralisk movement speed upgrade on the way. I can't believe I even remembered its name.
Yeah, I always make a point to remember upgrade names, but sometimes I do wish they were just called Ultra Speed and Ultra Armor and Marauder Slow.
Faster Ultra Legs, that's it. It's
all you Lord nerds out there want your fancy upgrade names. I won't have it, I say. The Marines are trying so hard to be useful here, but they really aren't.
No one knows what a pneumatized carapace is anyway. Yeah, I mean, what does that even mean? Come on.
Oh, man. All right, well, we've got some SCV being thrown away here for InZaNe. I'm not super sure why. He's not maxed out.
Ooh, good split there by Lambo. Minimizes the damage from those Widow Mines. Remember, Drilling Claws I don't think was ever done in this game, so those Widow Mines, of course, are revealed even when there's no Overseers around. 3-3 finishing up here for the Terran. InZaNe having some very good production in macro, but really seems to be wanting to win with just Marine, Marauder, Tank, Liberator. So not going up to the Ghosts, not going for the nukes or anything like that. And he just wants to use this sort of late mid-game composition as well as he can. So far, whoa, that was
that Marauder was a traitor.
You thought it was a changeling, I guess.
A changeling Marauder, damn, that'd be interesting. Didn't know when they patched that in. The Ultras are coming on in here from the north, and the Vipers are full of juice, and they're ready to engage with their Blinding Clouds and their Ducks if needed. At the moment, just Blinding Clouds with the Vipers. Those Baneling connections are sick. The tank's taken out of the equation, getting blinded here, and the Zerg is just pushing InZaNe all the way back.
Oh, nice hot pickup there. He's going to save some units and try to establish a holding point around the planetary. But the third base is not a planetary fortress. It's going to be forced to live. The Ultras, the Lings, the Banes, the Hydras running rampant throughout this. And Lambo's usage of these well-upgraded Lingbane Hydra Ultra army, the usage of the Vipers there with the Blinding Clouds was fantastic. His surrounds have been great. His creep spread was great. Lambo crushes through.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like InZaNe was really keeping up with him, going punch for punch in the early stages of the game. But once the mid-game hit and Lambo, even with his delayed upgrades, he just knew what to do, man. He was just making the correct decision after the correct decision, always trading for more and more damage, and InZaNe just started to look just a little bit too weak in the later stages of the game. He just couldn't keep up.
Yeah, those surrounds were so good with Lambo. Pre-spreading those units, the Lings, the Banes, the Ultras, the Hydras coming in from so many sides. Very well done there by him. And, you know, it's kind of tough to look at that as InZaNe and go, where exactly did things fall apart? Obviously, there was a point there where I feel like Lambo just kind of, it's a smaller map, Kairos Junction. I feel like he forced the issue with the creep in the middle. I don't think the creep was meant to get that far out. You know, InZaNe was being quite aggressive, and I feel at one point he pulled back from a multi-prong push and went, whoa, when did this creep get to my fourth base? And he pushed out to deal with it, and Lambo jumped on him. And he pulled back, and then he pushed back out again, and Lambo jumped on him. And Lambo would constantly disengage, so he would never chase into the planetary and overextend. And he would pull back, and he would wait for InZaNe to overstep. And it felt like InZaNe just kept underestimating Lambo's willingness to fight out there on the edge of creep. There's a few times he moved out, and his bio was a little bit clumped up against the terrain where they couldn't pull back and spread. The traitor mine, which you called out there, of course. I literally, there was a moment of confusion where I was like, where did those Marines go? The Banelings were over there. They weren't anywhere near that. Oh, a single Zergling dragged a Widow Mine into the Marines. Okay.
It does happen sometimes. Widow Mines can be good, and they can sometimes be really, really horrifying. Do you like the fourth base position that InZaNe chose there in that kind of situation? Like, he was using a lot of rallied out bio with a lot of Widow Mines, so it felt like, you know, he was intending to rally across the map and just keep a lot of pressure on with mines and take good fights and control well. Didn't end up to be the case, and like you mentioned, you know, Lambo had a lot of creep spread in the middle there. The fourth base seems like a good place to fight, but Lambo just kind of, because of where the ramp is into your natural, Lambo could kind of just avoid it and go around it and take the high ground away still.
I mean, I like the fourth base location because InZaNe clearly wanted to be aggressive there, but we'll come back to that in just a moment. We are hopping into King's Cove. Down here in the bottom right-hand side of the map, in the blue, representing Clash, it's Lambo.
So join German Zerg and the lone wolf here from the wolf pack. It is InZaNe, the Red Terran.
Yeah, you know, sometimes the wolf gets a little bit sad and just howls at the moon if it gets separated from the pack. Other times, it goes mad. It goes feral.
Yeah, it goes feral, that's right.
And
goes full alpha.
It's time for InZaNe to step it up now and show some of that absolutely mad Terran play. This is King's Cove, so I feel like you get 3-4 bases up like in that last map. This is the map where you want to start making 20 ghosts and launch nukes everywhere, Innovation or Maru style, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's InZaNe's style. You know, everyone has their own way of approaching the matchup, but that's something we've seen just gain power recently amongst the top Terran players. I know we've seen Clem massing ghosts quite a bit here and there when he gets to that stage of the game. Not sure if InZaNe likes to do that, but fingers crossed we get to see some cool stuff.
Yeah, there are some late game options for Terran. Obviously, it seems like Ghost is probably the strongest way to go, Ghost Liberator against Tier 3 Zerg. It is, you know, once you start to get to the point where you have a bank and you can start just making nukes non-stop and you nuke everywhere constantly, it seems so tough as a Zerg to keep up with it. But there are some Terrans out there that just don't like Ghosts, or they don't feel confident using them. They are, you know, an extra unit to micro with spells and that sort of thing. And
it's a very slow style as well, right?
Yeah.
So if you're like, you know, InZaNe wanted to get the tempo going in that last game, going to Ghosts doesn't let you do that, right? It's more of a, we're going to really drag this one out with 1,000 cuts. So I get it. It's like style. You know, everyone has their own way of approaching the game. Some Protoss players never cannon rush. Others only cannon rush, you know? Everyone has their own way to do the strategies. You've got your Nidus Worm Zergs, and you've got your 5 bases or die trying and get Hive Tech Zergs. So many different ways to play the game.
Reaper expand here from InZaNe getting across the map. Just a regular 1-1-1 opening from him now. Looks like he got a Marine before the reactor. It's just a little bit of extra at-home safety. Also could potentially pick off Overlords or at least zone them away from the main base. And keep an eye on that third location. It's 2.5 minutes, and Lambo certainly wants it. He's just taking his time here.
Yeah, the Reaper, you know, the opening here. Interesting to see the Reaper stay at home, actually. Because he scouted there was a hatch first, didn't he?
Yeah, I guess because this hatchery hasn't been taken yet, he's just like a little careful about some lings skirting around the outside.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they could run across. It's just, yeah, interesting. A lot of respect from InZaNe. Feel like there's definitely a little bit of meta there with, you know, even off hatch first, people can send 6 lings across the map if your Reaper's a bit occupied trying to deny a third or something like that. And Overlord speed from Lambo.
This is something that is starting to happen a little bit more lately, but of course, when you see Overlord speed, it could mean a lot of things. It could just be for safety and for scouting, but you know, Lambo's a very confident player. No doubt he's feeling confident against InZaNe, and it might be something a little nuts here from Lambo.
You know, I kind of like it because remember we were talking about the upgrades in that last game and how Lambo didn't really have them very early, and that could have hurt him. There's 2 things. Not only is Battle Mech, Cyclone, Hellion very powerful, and you want to delay your upgrades and get a bigger worker count, a bigger army count to stay safe, and then add the upgrades later. BCs are also happening so much at the moment, and I think this is a good way to scout it. It's a huge map. There's a big main base for you to scout and for Terran to hide things. Getting the Overlord speed just ensures you know exactly, it assures, I guess it ensures as well, but it definitely...
Ensures, assures, reassures.
It reassures the Zerg player, and Lambo, I think, is expecting InZaNe to pull out some of those weirder strategies. So Overlord goes in, sees it looks like a pretty normal opening so far. No doubt wants to go back in about 30 seconds to a minute and see if there's any armory for Hellbats or Fusion Core for ranged Liberators or Battle Cruisers, both very powerful units on this map.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, it's just so common now. The Koreans are doing it. It's very, very strong. We saw it in Challenger as well. Overlord gets in and gets a good scout off. No upgrades or anything shown off on that starport. In fact, this Viking first for InZaNe is going to keep Lambo guessing.
Whoa!
And InZaNe is also guessing. He's like, what do I do? Drops it there on the tech lab and is going to get a Raven here with some Hellions. So this is a little old school.
Raven Battlemech's actually really cool as well. You know, at the moment, a lot of people are thinking BC is the way to go into Battlemech, but the Raven gives you that ability to constantly clear creep. And until there's things like Hydra's out, you can often pull back the Cyclones and the Hellions, but you can actually leave the Raven there to spot the units, right? Because there's not a lot of anti-air out. So in the early kind of Hellion clearing stages, saves you a lot of scans, can be really nice. And indeed, double armory does go down here for InZaNe.
Cool, cool, cool. Some mech coming up here for the Terran. Pretty fast double armory. I don't know. Has he got his 3 factories yet? Oh, I don't think so. So that's very early double armory.
You know, I was watching the group selections the other day. I was listening to Dark's interview. He said Mech Terran is so Ember. Not whining, I'm not pretending.
Good on you, Dark.
It's unbeatable. I like how
Not
Dark...
whining, just saying it's unbeatable. Okay, Dark.
I mean, he's one of the best Zergs in the world. He does seem to always have a new thing to complain about every time he's being interviewed, but...
So does Innovation, to be fair. It's like, used to complain about TVZ with his 80% win rate.
Oh, yeah.
Gets that Overlord there. The Viking might pay with its life. No, it just escapes. All right, nice little pick off there for InZaNe. Oh, it might get a second one. It's got Overlord speed, so it should be fine.
Yeah, it's a little bit close to the edge, so the Viking could get... Queens will take that out.
No transfusion, though.
Trades.
Yeah.
Viking does go down, as does the Overlord. Overlord wasn't going to be too much more use in the follow-up, so fair enough. Here comes the Hellion Raven, clearing up a lot of these creep tumors. The Raven going way too far forward.
Man. Oh, those Queens are on the chase. Oh, wow. I can't believe that thing's still alive.
Barely.
Damn.
It needs to go home and get a new fresh coat of paint, as well as everything replaced inside it. It needs a lot of SCV repair right now.
Yeah, this Raven reminds me of my my first car. Like, it was good 30 years ago. And right now, yes, it technically does drive from A to B, but it is very, very damaged. We got those factories scouted here by Lambo. Sees the armories as well, so he knows exactly what he's up against. Hydra then gets dropped, and there's that infestation pit. He's going to try and shoot up in a hive here, get those important Vipers out. All standard versus mech affair here for the Zerg.
Liberator House is going to go down. Now, we haven't really seen any Cyclones in here, so looking a little bit more like some traditional mech. 2 Thors on the way, and oh, he's going to go the double Thor drop. It's a very
vanilla mech.
Very late double Thor drop, and he is supply blocked, unfortunately, so the medevac's a little delayed. But yeah, I mean, that keeps you safe from the Mutalisks, and from there it'll be lots and lots of tanks. Oh, no.
Goodbye, Liberator. I never knew her.
You know, that's loyalty to following your orders. Good discipline there. It's like, well, I was told to siege up right here. I can see a Spore Crawler and a Queen, but I will follow my orders. Starcraft units, not known for their autonomy. Starcraft
units never ask questions. They do exactly what you tell them to do. So it's always the commander's fault. We're seeing that hive from Lambo there. Super fast, like pre-8 minutes he starts that hive.
Ooh, look at this little Raven being a bit of a cheeky one up there.
So many Hellions, my God.
Single Marine's going to go down. And yeah, that is a lot of Hellions, Maynard. Did we see any? Oh my gosh, 89 workers for Lambo? Oh my.
He doesn't need drones anymore, but he's still making them. So amazingly, he's going to go on a 91 here.
Oh, you got to watch out with those Hellions. They're going to go deep on creep, but the Banelings will destroy them. If they can connect, Banelings will ruin these Hellions.
That's an if.
Oh, but he's got the flank ready.
No, he's trying to get a flank ready.
Oh no. InZaNe, it's a trap, don't go in there. Those battling Bane on the left, it's just waiting.
There's Spedamax there with the Thors as well. What are these Thors doing? They're dropped down in front of the battle. The Hydras are tearing them apart. The Hellbats are engaging, but there's that flight. The Banelings from the backside.
More Banelings right in the center.
No. InZaNe gets completely cleaned up there by Lambo. He does not trade very well at all. No! Oh, Jesus. All right, well, InZaNe's entire army gets erased. He's down to 22 army supply. Lambo is just looking to go across the map and end this one. He's got so much, and he knows it. Massive advantage here for the German Zerg.
His hive's finished. He's already got 3 Vipers on the way, Maynard. Lambo is out of control in this game. I mean, this is just what happens. When you let Lambo do what he wants to do, you only put on light pressure. Lambo runs away with the game, and 90 drones, an amazing Hydraling Bane.